It's important though. You can put that. If you
Everyone
want
has a
closer, you don't have
unique
to have
gift,
so
and
much
Mike, the creator of the One Life podcast, believes most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike wants you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The One Life podcast unites the world through art, fashion, music, and film. It inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities and creates an equal playing field for all. On the One Life podcast, they cover topics like building relationships, overcoming adversity, habits of healthy people, and much, much more. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the One Life podcast to your playlist. That's the number one NE Life. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform.
All right. What's up, y'all? I'm Mike M.I.C. Reed, and this is the One Life Podcast where we talk about positive psychology while taking care of our well-being and telling your story, because everyone has a story. In studio today, we have Doc Culture in the building with us today. How you doing there, sir?
Good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you for letting me come on the show.
Man, thank you for coming, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing out there in the community for all the vets and everybody. So let's just get into this, because I was reading your profile earlier, and your name Doc. Daily out cruising.
Yes.
Is that where it comes from, or?
Yeah, pretty much that. And I drink Dr. Pepper. So every time I go out with the guys, I ride in a motorcycle club, and we go out and people are like, oh, let me buy you a drink. And I'm like, oh, Dr. Pepper. And they're like, okay, Doc. And that's how my name stuck. And I've had that about 10 years now because I don't drink. So I mean, I'll have a drink here and there, I should say. Right. But I'm not a social drinker, like special occasions. So I'll have a drink. But I got my road name, Doc, from drinking Dr. Pepper, and I'm always out on my bike.
So so after you got your name Doc from Dr. Pepper, you came up with the Daily Out Cruising? Correct.
Yeah. So without being out riding, everything, and people are like, oh, what does Doc stand for? And I was like, oh, well, Daily Out Cruising. Right. And a lot of people, that's me always being out there riding, doing my thing, and giving back to the community.
I love that. So let's talk about that. What's your backstory? Because like I said in the beginning, everybody has a backstory. I see you're a vet. Yes, thank you for your service and all you do. You're an Army vet, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct,
so tell us your backstory.
So a little bit about me is and how I got into what I do now is I got out of the military, got a good job and all that good stuff. Went through a hard time and became homeless actually, and lived in my car. And then from there, I got back on my feet. And when I got back on my feet, my goal was, okay, how can I help other people now? Because I never expected I would become homeless, Right. So now how can I help others that are going through a hard time? Maybe not homeless, but going through a hard time. And because we could always use an extra hand. So how can I do that? And so in 2016, I started helping others and giving back to the veteran community and stuff, because the veteran programs like that they have in play with the VA center and stuff, they've helped me get back on my feet. So then I was like, okay, now in return, I went back to those same companies and tried to help out. And so I got connected with the veteran community out here with a lot of them and being able to help other veterans. And then from there, obviously I started my motorcycle club, and our motto is stand for the flag, kneel for the cross, honor our veterans, and help the community. And so that's what we do. Not all of us are veterans, but we're patriotic. And we just go out to the community and see what we can do to help, as well as enjoy riding and our brotherhood and sisterhood together, because we're a co-ed club.
Right. I like that. So let's go back for a second, and let me know if you're okay with talking about this, because the part where you come out of the military and you become homeless, was that due to because of the services? Because I've had but a few people that are Army vets, and they actually work with veterans out here on the show, and all of them, they tell me the same story, that once you come out, that process, they haven't figured that part out yet.
No, definitely not. So when I got out, I was artillery, and I served my time in Iraq, right? And so when I got out, I did get a job doing like security work and stuff, which was fine, but you can only go so far in that. Right. And then, life happens. Some stuff came down, and I got a divorce and all that fun stuff. Well, I ended up living in my car. And then from there, it was trying to figure out how to get back on it. And a lot of programs, they have red tape, right? They're government programs, so they have red tape. well, I didn't do drugs. I wasn't a heavy drinker. I didn't do any of that. So I didn't qualify. Because the more severe you are, the more these programs can help you. And that's where a lot of companies that are helping veterans now, that are out here like Project Homage to Our Heroes or AV Boga, are kind of filling that gap.
Right.
They're helping veterans that are not extreme, using drugs or really bad to, they're kind of in that mid range, if that makes sense. And so that's why I try to help those companies out and support them, because they're filling that gap that really needs it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So for people that are working that minimum wage job or that security job that are making $16 an hour, they can't quite, they could afford to rent a room, but that's about it. They can't afford to rent a whole house. So how do you take care of your family on that?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I definitely, try to support those organizations that are out here that are definitely filling that middle gap. Mm. But for me getting out, what caused me, I would say, to become homeless was not knowing how to take my skills from the military and put them into a civilian world. Right. And how to take that environment that I was used to, that structure from the military, and coming into the civilian lifestyle. It's two different worlds.
Yeah, I can imagine. And that's kind of crazy how, and I get it. Anytime doing anything with the government or city, whatever, it's always some red tape.
Always.
It's always some red tape. And that's the thing, that's the part about, politics that I don't like, because you have someone like yourself and other vets that they take care of this whole country, right? And now that they're out, you can't just say, okay, thank you, go figure out life now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, there's for me, when I got out, there was the GI Bill, so I was able to use that to go to school, but I was never an office person. And so when they told me, oh, you can just go to the school and you can do it. And I was like, cool. And I was like, well, how do I do this? Right. And then I tried to go, and I felt like I was jumping through hoops, and I just walked away. I was like, forget this.
Right. Because they make it difficult.
And yeah, it was just to use my GI Bill to go to school. And I was like, forget this. So finally, I had somebody that sat down with me and walked me through it. Then I got it, and then I went to school, and now I have my bachelor's degree.
Oh, nice. So well, congrats on that.
Thank you. Yeah. But if it wasn't for somebody to take that time to help me, I wouldn't have ever used my GI Bill. And that with the other programs helped me get out of my situation that I was in. Right.
Even with and that's great, and I'm glad there was someone out there to help you, because that's very important. That's why it's important, and I appreciate people like you now that's actually stepping up and doing other things. And like you said, Boots on the Ground Alliance. I got a good friend, Yvonne, who works. I forgot the name of her company. Sorry, Yvonne, but I know she's part of the AV Wellbeing Coalition. Correct. And she supports veterans to the fullest, and so she's great doing it. And I appreciate people like that that's stepping up and really helping.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people here in the Antelope Valley now. I see stepping and filling in that gap. Back in the day when I got out in 2007, it wasn't like that.
Right.
And I was like, where do I go? Who do I talk to? Mm-hmm. Now I feel like there's a lot, like I said, Project Homage to Our Heroes, AV Boga, and then I just bought my first house, and I got to use my GI Bill. Okay. And I want to give a shout out to Becky Loa. She helped me go through all the steps of how do I do it to be able to purchase my first home. Her and Yvonne. So I got two realtors that stepped up and walked me through every process of not only buy my house, but what did I need to do to build my credit? Right. Because my credit was down, obviously, going through the hard times. So they helped me build that up and then buy my first house and use my GI Bill. Right.
And that's important too. A lot of people are scared to buy homes. I'm on my second home, and the first home I bought, the process was real simple. But I think that's because I had good people.
That's right. That makes a difference.
That makes a huge difference, because there are some realtors out there that they're just out there for the commission, and they don't really help you through the process. Yes, the process can be a lot, but if you have the right realtor, broker, or whatever behind you, it makes it so much easier, right? Definitely. And so, for me, I had a good friend of mine who does he does private loans. So he was able to help me and walk me through my first home. My second home was a little bit more difficult, which I didn't think it would be. But that's only because I bought the second home with business funds.
All right.
And that's just a whole nother process. So it wasn't like, hey, I work, here's my paycheck, I make this a month. They had to verify that I owned the business. They had to verify that I can actually use the business funds to purchase the house and the business don't go under.
Right.
Like it was a lot of red tape, when you buy a home through a business. Yeah. So, and I had to learn that, but everything's good now, but it does help when you have like a good team behind you.
Definitely.
Because the process, because it's so much worth it, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Like I tell people, paying rent, you just giving away your money. Like,
yeah, there's no point for that.
And you know what? And it's crazy. And I know this sounds lopsided, but my mortgage is less than everybody's rent, which is crazy.
Yeah, I went up a little bit, but not by much. $200 more a month, and I was buying my house versus renting.
Right.
So, $200 a month. I just had to stop going out like 1 weekend a month.
Right. But you just bought your house.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
but I bought my house 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
the price was way cheaper.
different.
That's why. So but even still, it's great that you was able to go through it. Congratulations, because now you got equity.
Yep.
You're not just you're not throwing your money away. You're actually, your money that you pay every month is an investment now, and it's making money.
That's right.
So that's great. I'm glad to actually hear that. I'm glad to hear that you're back on your feet, and doing all this for the community.
Definitely.
Yeah. So as far as like your Army vet, why is it important, or why was it important for you to help?
Well, part of it was, like I said, I didn't know where to go and how to get help. And so I figured now with me being able to do it, I can help get that word out to veterans or anyone that's going through a hard time and giving back. And I wanted to kind of bridge that gap, if that makes sense, and bring it out there to people. And with so many organizations that are here in the Antelope Valley now, a lot of them, like Coffee for Vets, they do a lot of great things for vets, and they meet over here on Monday mornings over at Crazy Autos on Avenue I. And that's great. But for a lot of the younger vets, they can't make it on Monday morning because they're at work. So it makes it a little tougher. And so that's what I try to do on the weekends, is be out there and bring those things to those veterans. And that's what I love, that on the third Tuesday of every month now, Project Homage to Our Heroes does it at Madrano's by the mall. So that helps bring the younger vets that are during the day, all day working, that can't make that Mondays or Tuesdays over at Crazy Autos.
Okay.
So,
and what is in your opinion, what do you see out there? Because obviously you're out there a lot. What do you see that's still missing
for our veteran community, or just in general?
For our veteran community.
Okay. So I would say in our veteran community, one of the biggest things that is missing still is being able to receive services on the off hours. So if you work a 9 to 5, there's still not a lot that offers after 5 o'clock on the weekday or on the weekends. And so if you're trying to file for your VA claim, or you're trying to see a therapist or any of that, a lot of that is still Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And I would say that makes it difficult for a lot of veterans to get that service outside of when they're not at work.
Right, because and they can't afford to take off work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then it's like, what do I do? Do I go see and get services or get my appointment, or do I go to work? Well, I need my paycheck to be a full paycheck.
Right. And I know some jobs don't even give you that flexibility. So do I lose my job to go, like, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
It is decisions out there, and they're hard, tough decisions. And I can see that being a need. That's a tough one.
Yeah. So definitely more, if there was a way to get more services available on weekends and after your normal 9 to 5 business hours.
Or at least extend the hours, at least one. And I get, like, certain people, that do offer these services, they want to go home to their families after 5 o'clock.
Right.
Like, I get it. But maybe the solution is maybe one day out of the week, maybe on a Monday or Wednesday, you just extend your hours to like 7 or 8 o'clock.
Yeah. That would make a big difference.
Not every day, but just that one day for a few hours to give these veterans time to, get there.
Yeah, I think one of the things that they did recently, not too long ago, is they have the VA clinic here now in Lancaster, and we are able to get a lot more services there than we used to be able to. Back in 2007, it wasn't like that. We had to go always down the hill, down to LA, to West LA. But the last couple of years, they have made services available local, but they are still 9 to 5 hours.
Right. One of the things that that really concerns me, and I was just talking to a friend of mine. His name is Jimmy, and he's from the Marines, retired Marine, and he works with the vets. I don't know if you know him, Jimmy. I forget his last name, but he does a lot of work out here, and he's been on the show. But he was telling me the last time he was on the show, and I was just talking to him a couple of weeks ago when I ran into him. Like a lot of the vets, it's the homeless problem.
Yeah,
a lot of the vets, when they come out, the only thing, like, we want to see them, transition into a home, right? Mm-hmm. And he opened my eyes when he told me this. Like, he said, a lot of the vets, they prefer to be in the streets because that's what they're used to. Like when they're in war or something, they used to being out there. Right. They're used to being in encampments, and that's where they feel safe. Just because we feel safe and we have a home doesn't mean that that's what they want or that's their comfort zone. Well, which makes sense, right? Because when you look at it from that perspective, right? Because it is about their safety. Mm-hmm. A lot of them been out, out of the country and these wars in different countries for decades, and then you expect them to come home, like, and just go inside of a home, like. So a lot of them don't want to do it, but of course, we care about them and love them, and we want to see them transition because we don't want to see them out in the encampments or homeless. Mm-hmm. So, like, what do we do?
I would say that, because I did work with the homeless as well. I used to work at Valley Oasis, and I was in their outreach program, and I used to go out to the homeless encampments. I wouldn't say that majority of them wanted to be there. I would say a lot of times that they did get out, and then they went to the streets, and then they got used to it. I don't think they got used to it when they first got out, because when you are in the military, a lot of times you're in the barracks, right. You get housing and stuff. But I mean, if you did go to war, you might be in a situation like I served in Iraq, so I understand. I lived at a Humvee, I lived out there a little bit. But I would say is a lot of the programs that they do have for these veterans when they get out and they become homeless and they go into a home or something is the red tape or the restrictions that they have on that home.
Right.
So if I'm a vet and you tell me, okay, I could get you a house or I can get you housing, but you gotta, stay in this apartment with these other veterans on a bunk for a while before we can move you to the next step. Well, I don't feel comfortable in that room even though they're veterans, I don't feel comfortable being in the bunk in there. I'd rather be in my own tent out in the desert. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So a lot of vets, there's steps to it, and they don't want that middle step part where you might have to be like in a recovery home or those type of things. They don't feel comfortable. Okay. And a lot of those are mixed. They're not just veterans. So now I might be in there with somebody that's using whatever type of drug or this or that. Well, do I really feel safe sleeping next to that person?
Right.
So that a lot of them were like, I'd rather stay in the tent.
Wow. So and that's why I asked, because it is a lot of different perspectives to look for. I have a good friend named Victoria. She works out there with the vets, and she's constantly in the deserts.
Yeah, I know her. I know Jimmy as well. I know them all.
Yeah. So yeah, she and she's out there every day just hustling. She throws on her jacket, her boots, and she's just out there. Yes. And I love that they all do this, but I do understand that we got to find a better solution.
Yes.
The red tape, I get it. There's a lot of red tape, but we got to figure it out.
Definitely.
Because they're dying out there.
Yes.
Even though I know in their minds, and I'm not a vet, so mind you, and I don't want to seem insensitive or say anything, crazy, but to me, like it doesn't seem like it's safe out there for them.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, it's like when you go camping, right? You go camping, you have a tent, you feel secure in your campsite. Right. So when they build their campsite, that's their domain. They feel comfortable in it.
Right.
But to go from that to have to share a room with somebody, what is your domain? Where's your protection?
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest things is if they're able to take these veterans that are going through a hard time straight into their own apartment or at least their own room, it would make a difference. But when you have to share a room,
yeah, with a complete stranger at that,
yeah, that's where I think it makes it harder, and they'd rather stay in their tent than share a room with somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a lot to it, man. I hope they figure it out, because I definitely think. But I think the conversation is even like this, is going to help. We just got to keep talking about it.
And then all the organizations like AV Boga and Project Tom Shore Heroes and stuff that are out here that are stepping up and making a difference for our veterans. They are filling that gap.
Right.
And anything that I can do or my club can do, we will definitely go out there and support them. Vets Project, these guys are doing a lot, and we try to support them as much as possible. Vets Project, we just helped them give out over 500 cars came through of toys for our community here. And the first hour was veterans or military active duty. And then after the first hour was open to the whole community. Anyone can come. And I couldn't believe how many families came through that you could see really appreciated getting those toys. Right. And seeing the smiles on the kids' face. So I was excited to be part of that. And I hope we can do that again next year.
I mean, I think you guys will. That's definitely a blessing. Yeah. So as far as like mental health, because I see that, you obviously have your own podcast and YouTube channel, and you do a lot of interviews, but you're big on mental health.
Yes, definitely. I receive mental health myself, and I think there's a stigma on it still, even though it's a little bit better than it used to be. I talk to a counselor and therapist and stuff, and I suffer from PTSD from the military, serving over in Iraq. But I feel like the biggest thing is being able to get out there and talk to people about it and finding a niche or finding something that works for you to help clear your mind.
Right.
So for me, riding motorcycles and being involved in the community, that works for me. And when I don't ride, my wife tells me, babe, you got to go ride. Go get out of the house.
She knows, huh?
She knows. She's like, you need to literally be on your bike and get that
right.
wind therapy. And being out there with other like-minded individuals and being able to talk about, either what I've been through or just helping others and hearing their story helps me, if that makes sense.
No, it 100% does. And that's why I brought it up because, before I started my podcast, I was doing I was always behind the scenes. Yeah. Like I was telling you off air, I was 35 years in the film industry, but I was always behind the scenes. And I went through a lot of mental health. A lot of people know my story. And once I started doing this and really like being in front of the camera and started talking and doing these shows, it started helping me, like yes. opening up, being vulnerable, telling my stories. Like it was therapy for me. Mm-hmm. Like I love doing this now.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I would ever stop now.
Yeah. That's how, I was telling you too, earlier, people kept telling me I should start a YouTube channel. I started a YouTube channel, but I didn't get why they were really saying that, I was out being active, doing stuff, but, I think, like you said, they knew that it would help me, and it does. I enjoy what I do now, being on there. It's fun, laughing with people, hearing other people's stories, or hearing somebody that went from a hard time to building their success, or what they are starting. Like this hat I'm wearing right now is 138 Original. He's a veteran, and he's right here out of Palmdale.
Okay.
He works his full-time job, and he started his clothing company, and he's growing. And to support him, I wear his hat on my show. I wore it today purposely for the show,
oh, nice.
To support and give a shout out to him. And it's 138 Original. And what he has going, and that's his dream, is owning his clothing company and building that. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of his coming up with the design and building it is kind of his thing to like clear his mind from work and,
right.
and stuff. And so I enjoy that and enjoy connecting with others that are doing the same.
Nice. I like that. So riding is your jolt of joy, is what we call
yes.
in, the mental health space. What other things do you do to, put yourself in a better space? Like if you're feeling any triggers coming along or whatnot?
Well, there's a couple things that I do that I've talked to my therapist about that help. One is, I work out on the base out of Edwards. Mm-hmm. And so the sonic booms get me sometimes. Okay. And I got to go to the restroom and put some water in my face and just take a minute. Like, okay, I'm good. Mm-hmm. In the middle of a work job, right. Like, hey, hold on, give me 5 minutes. So that's like for something quick that triggers me. But But being around good people and people that are being positive. You know, I know you had Jackie on your show here, and she does a lot for suicide awareness and stuff. And I've helped her with some of her events and walks and stuff. And seeing people make a difference in our community, seeing the positive in our community helps me stay positive.
Right.
So I try to keep my circle around people that are being positive and doing good things in our community. And when somebody I see is being negative, I go, oh, that's great. You know, I hope things work out for you. And I backtrack. I get away from there.
Right. And that's key. A lot of people still haven't figured that out, because I talk about that a lot. So many people want to do good. Like, because I know a couple of people right now that are struggling and they want to do good, right? Mm-hmm. But you have to, if you're in a space or if your environment is toxic, you got to get out of that environment. You got to go and surround yourself with people that is going to uplift you and you know, support you in what you're doing. And I'm not saying you have to leave your family or you have to leave your friends and never talk to them again. What I'm saying is, like, if you want to be like somebody or be, you know, a great actor, a great musician, great football player, whatever, and your environment is just full of people that don't have no ambitions, no future, no nothing, then how you expect to get to this goal?
That's right.
Like, you got to go surround yourself with people that have like-minded goals. Mm-hmm. So you have to change your environment, and it's okay to go visit your friends and family. You know, and I talk about this a lot. Sometimes your family are toxic.
Yes.
Your families are the biggest toxic people because they're always trying to tell you, oh, no, you can't do this. Because they think they know you. They think they're familiar with you and all that. But they don't really know your heart and your visions, you know. So sometimes you have to leave that.
Well, you know, I saw a post the other day that said, those that are standing next to you sometimes don't realize how big you are.
Right.
Because they're right next to you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so that makes a big difference. You know, like you with your podcast, I've seen it grow and I've seen you blowing up, and I'm like, man, one day I hope to be there. And then now I'm on the show, you know, and that's cool. And then I also started my own podcast, and it's growing, you know, and I thought, oh, if I get 10 followers, I'll be happy. And I've had way more than that, and I'm surprised.
Right. No, you know what? When I started, and because I started the show really by accident, like it wasn't a dream of mine, it wasn't a vision of mine. But during the pandemic, I was doing like these, like everybody else, I was on Zoom. And I was doing these Zoom meetings for like 100 to 200 people. But I was doing crypto stocks. Okay. I was teaching people how to, you know, trade in crypto, because I did very well in crypto. I was one of those people that did very well. So I was like doing trainings and mindset trainings, you know, on crypto, and just in general. And I think that's what why I kind of excelled in my whole positive psychology thing, is because I started my mindset training years ago. Mm-hmm. So that kind of helped. But when people was telling me on those Zoom calls, like, wow, you should really have your own show, or you should do like a podcast. I'm like, no.
Right.
No. I was getting so many compliments. Like, people was like emailing me and texting me and say, hey, Mike, thank you for the conversation. Mm-hmm. And then I realized what I was doing, because I actually didn't even know what I was doing. I was just literally having conversations with people. But most importantly, I was letting people just talk. I was just listening. I found out how powerful listening really is, because most people, they just want to be heard. Mm-hmm. And if you could just sit there and be present and just listen to someone, that's all most people want. You know,
that reminds me of something I was taught as a kid. Treat the janitor the same as you treat the CEO. Yeah. And that's the same thing. We just want to all be seen and be heard. Exactly. Same thing, you know. So when I'm walking down the street, it doesn't matter if it's a homeless guy there or a guy dressed in a suit, I still say hello to him. Right. And, you know, it's not as common as people think, you know, people saying hi to somebody they don't know. But it's, to me, is that really going to hurt me in any way, just to say hi to somebody? It's the simplest thing. Like during the summertime, like I literally walk around my neighborhood. Like I love taking my dog and walk around the neighborhood, like early mornings. And when I see people like leaving for work or going outside, getting their mail or whatnot, and they just say hi and I say hi back, it's the best feeling. Like we're not there having a long conversation. It's just simple. Oh, hi. Just wait. Even people drive by when I'm walking my dog and they just say hi. It's the best feeling. Mm-hmm. It's that being able, like you said, being seen and being acknowledged.
Yeah.
When you acknowledge somebody, you might have just made their day. You know?
Yeah, and I say that all the time. You never know what someone is going through, and just that simple gesture. Hi, how you doing? Definitely. You know, it can make a world of a difference to somebody. Mm-hmm. You probably stop them from committing suicide. Mm-hmm. Like literally, I've heard someone actually say that sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like someone just said hi to them, and it just snapped out of it. You just never know. So the simplest things. I mean, the simplest things are really the best things in life. Like really.
Exactly.
So exactly. I love working. I love what I'm doing now. To this day, I still get, messages saying, hey, I needed that today. Even that's why I love doing this show. I love people like yourself coming on, telling your stories, telling your perspective, because it's not about me. Like it's never about me. Mm-hmm. It's me wanting to tell other people's stories, because you just never know what you might say, that's going to help somebody.
That's right.
Somebody might can relate to you. Mm-hmm. One of the things when I first started this, I was watching a lot of interviews. Mm-hmm. And even like during my mindset trainings, I had this mentor, and he had a group of people, and I had a group of people. Right, his group of people was way bigger than mine. Like he had like a few thousand people in his group. I had like a couple of hundred. But I remember this lady, and we used to do Zoom calls together, maybe once a week. And I remember this lady on his team messaged me, and mind you, me and him both always said the same thing. She messaged me and said, you know what, Mike? Even though I'm on his team and you guys are saying the same thing, she's like, for some reason, I can relate to you better. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. Because we all relate to different people differently. Because even though we may be saying the same thing, but we all have our different flavors and our different twists on things, but people relate to us differently.
That's right.
Because we receive and deliver things differently. Mm-hmm. The important thing is that we're both putting the great message out there.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter if 5 people are listening to me and 1,000 people are listening to you. Mm-hmm. As long as everybody's listening. And somebody's getting it from somewhere.
Exactly.
Like I tell people, I don't care if everybody doesn't get my show. Mm-hmm. I had somebody tell me last week that it was like, yeah, man, your shows are long, but I like it and I can just skip through and take the pieces out. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that.
Yep.
As long as you get a takeaway from it.
Right. I'm
not saying you have to listen to every show. Every show might not be for you. Because I have different guests every week. So it might not be for you. But as long as if you listen to one of my show and you got one little takeaway from it, I'm good with it.
Exactly. I'm
so good with that.
Yeah. And like you said, like multiple people, they relate to different people. Yeah. And that's one of the things with us, with starting my club. The club is 1776 Patriots of America Motorcycle Club. And I have people that, no matter what we're doing out there in the community and helping, some people relate to our female riders more than our male riders, or they relate to one of our other guys because he's like a big clown. He's kind of the big jokester. But then he puts a smile on those kids' face or helps the community in that way. And so it doesn't matter who in the club that they connect with, long as that we're all being able to give back and help the community, Right.
And that's where I kind of like, I try to, tell people, respect everybody, no matter what religion, what their faith is, what their beliefs are, what their morals are. Like, to me, I respect everybody. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what your morals are. I don't care about none of that.
Right.
As long as you're a good person, it's all that matters to me. Because you're different. I'm different. Everybody's different. God made everybody different, right? So that's why I understand why people are so judgmental. It's like people put so much emphasis on being judgmental on other people. They judge you so much. And it's like, why? Like, whatever this person over here believes in or whatever they like has no effect on your life.
Yep.
It goes to saying about how, we tell people when you're in a relationship, right? Like, everybody tries to make their partners happy. Like, but you're not responsible. Like when I tell my ex-wife, like I'm not responsible for her happiness.
That's right.
Just because, and she's not responsible for my happiness, right? It's the same thing with people. Like my friends, I'm not responsible for their happiness.
That's correct.
They're not responsible for my happiness.
It's up to you as an individual.
Exactly. So why do people put so much shit on judgment?
Yeah.
Like, why are you judging me?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't affect your life.
Exactly.
Just like I'm not responsible for your life or your happiness.
Uh-huh.
So just be a good person, be a good, decent human being. Enjoy what you like doing. I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian. I don't care if you're gay, transgender, whatever. If that's what makes you happy, that's great. It has no effect on my life.
Yep.
I'm happy. I'm happy you're happy. That's all. That's all. And it ends right there. I'm happy you're happy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And you're just a decent person.
Yeah.
Now, go make other people happy on whatever, however way you want to do it.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I love about like people in our space and positive people. Like they don't show judgment. Like, so I don't get when people like judge people. It's like, why? Just enjoy what you do.
Just treat everybody with respect.
Exactly.
You know, simple.
You don't have like, it's okay for us to agree to disagree.
Exactly.
We're not gonna like everything. Even like, I'm pretty sure you and your wife, you guys don't agree on everything.
No.
And it's okay.
Right. It's okay.
I don't like chocolate ice cream.
Yeah.
Maybe you do.
Something's wrong with you.
I mean, you know what I mean? It's okay.
Yeah.
But it really is that simple. I think people put way too much on judging everybody. And it's like, why? Like it takes so much energy to judge someone. And then you sit there and you gossip about it and talk about it. And for what? Like, how did that better your life?
Right.
Like it doesn't. All right.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I sit there and I watch people all the time. It's like, dude, like, cause they tell me about people and I'm like, cause I do the show now, people feel like they can always talk to me.
Oh yeah.
So I get it all the time. People are like, oh, did you see so-and-so? They did that. And I'm like, dude, like, who cares?
Right.
Like, I really don't care.
You know, that's true though. And those same individuals that are gossiping to you about somebody else will probably gossip about you to somebody else.
Oh, no, 100%. No, trust me. There's been so many rumors out here since I started this show.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I don't get it. Like, I've heard so many rumors about certain people, and I thought these people was like, I'm not gonna say friends, but I know them, right? But when they see me, they smile in my face, they shake my hand or hug me. But it's like I hear the rumors, and it's like, dang, you really don't even know me. Like, you hear something about me, then you run with it, and it's like, get to know me.
Right. Yeah, like, I've had that happen since I did
to my show. Shit, I'm the same person. Like, I don't change. Like, I am who I am.
Be real.
Like,
just be real all the time.
I'm just a real person.
Yeah,
like, you know. It. But I there's so many stories out there about me, and it's like I laugh about it because it's like what I don't care. It's funny to me. It's entertaining, but it's like they don't know me. And matter of fact, I just did this post on IG. It said, you can talk to one person, they're gonna tell you I'm the sweetest, most gentle, great person in the world, right? But then you might talk to somebody else and say, yeah, he's an asshole. Both are true. And both are true. Both are true. I act accordingly.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a positive person. Everybody knows this. But I'm also from the streets, and I'm not going to let you disrespect me.
Exactly.
I'm not a punk. I'm not going to just let you disrespect my family or me. I'm not going to let you put your hands on me. Like, at that point, yeah, this positive shit go out the window.
Yep.
And I'm going to be an asshole.
Yep. I got to be real with you. That's
it.
I'm real.
100%. Like,
I'm the same way. But I could be the nicest guy, help the community.
It's up to you.
But it's up to you how I treat you.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And for the most part, and let me be clear, if I'm somewhere and somebody talk about me, I don't care.
Right.
You can sit there and walk by me and say, oh, you an asshole. Okay, cool, I'm an asshole. But you're not going to put your hands on me, and you're not going to get in my face and just continue to talk.
Yeah.
Because at some point, I'm going to put an end to it. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not a violent person, but I can't be.
Yep.
I don't like it, but.
Yeah. That's me. I'm trained. You know, I served in the military. I did my thing.
Yeah.
I could be that mean guy. Or I could be chill and calm and loving and giving back to the community. Yeah, choose how I.
We can sit here and chop it up and disagree on everything, but at the end of the day, I'm saying, hey, you want a beer?
Yeah. Or Dr. Pepper in my case.
All right, Dr. Pepper. Right? I mean, life is really simple. Life is too short, man. I'm older now, and I just don't. I don't know. I don't feed into it no more.
Yep, I'm right there with you.
Like,
I'm right there with you. Yeah, and for me, anything that anybody says, like anyone says anything, and they're like, "Hey, I heard this," I go, "It's probably true."
Yeah, it's very true.
It may or not be. It don't matter. But I just let it be because it doesn't affect me.
Right.
Like you said.
I asked them, but did you get their version? Like, did you ask them what did they do to make me be an asshole?
Right. What caused it?
Like, I just think, and I tell people this all the time, Doc. People don't wake up just being an asshole.
Right.
Like, it comes from somewhere. Like, it literally comes from somewhere. You just don't wake up, today I want to be an asshole. Right. Like, no, it comes from somewhere.
Something triggered it.
Yeah, so it's like, let's be real. Let's get the other version. But everybody has their own version. It's stupid, really. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of these rumors, and it's really dumb. I'll be honest with you. I mean, especially like the rumors out here. Like, I ran into this one girl out here, and I think it was at a Lucky Luke's event, and she came up to me, just gave me a hug and all that, and I'm looking at her like, did you just like say something rude about me to somebody else? Like, I didn't say it to her, but I'm just like laughing because it's like, this is funny to me.
Oh, yeah, I've had that happen. Because
they think I don't know.
Right.
But I actually have a lot of friends out here. I know a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And people tell me, and even though I don't care, like I said, it's entertaining to me. But people's true colors always come out.
Always.
And I think it's because, a lot of people, they don't want to say it to me in my face because I think some of them are business people that I know out here. And they're smart to an extent to where they know, like, they can't burn that bridge. Mm-hmm. Because business out here, it is a small community, and you really don't want to burn business bridges out here.
Yep, definitely.
So I think they're smart in that way to where they come up to me, oh, hey, Mike, Yeah. But it's like, okay, I really know. And you know what? If someone ever has a problem with me, my door is always open.
Mm-hmm. Come talk to me.
Yeah.
We'll probably be able to solve it anyway. That's
100%.
what I always say. Because it's probably a misunderstanding.
It's always a misunderstanding. And it's always a stupid misunderstanding. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, 100%. Like, I will buy the drinks.
Right.
I'll take you to dinner. Like, let's talk about this. Because I'm big on conversations. Because I truly believe a healthy conversation can fix anything.
Yep.
Even if at the end of the day we disagree, we're going to still walk away, agree to disagree.
Right. And you feel better about it.
Yeah.
And you feel like, hey, I got this off my chest, or they got this off their chest. And then we talked about it. And now it's, even if we disagree on it, it's been addressed.
Yeah. And I honestly, and I get it. Everybody don't connect, right? Everybody don't click. Everybody don't click business wise because we all do business differently. At the end of the day, I don't wish no harm on nobody. Mm-hmm. I wish everybody well.
Yep. It's
okay if, like, for instance, if we don't click on business, it's okay. I don't have no problem with that.
Right.
It's enough for everybody.
Now we just got to get you out there on a Harley, get you riding.
I've been wanting to do that. No, because two of my good friends, they ride.
Really?
And they've been trying to get me to ride. They don't live out here though.
Okay.
They live in one lives in like right past Victorville, and the other one lives in LA. But they've been a part of motorcycle clubs for decades, and they're my best friends because I'm part of the Mason fraternity.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
So they're Mason. They're my Mason brothers. But they've been trying to get me to ride. I just haven't. I used to ride when I was little.
Okay.
I just never got my license, and I almost bought a motorcycle almost a year ago. Almost did.
So I think 2024 is your year. You're gonna get on a bike.
It may be. And you know what stopped me? Because I actually went down to the dealership. It was the one right across from Jethawks.
Oh, okay. Rider's Choice.
Yeah.
Yes.
I went over there and I was going to buy one that day. I didn't have my license. So I was like, hey, can I ride it out here? He was like, no, you got to have a license.
You got to have somebody with a license right.
And then I went to go look, and this is honest God truth. Like, I went home and I looked up, okay, how do I get my motorcycle license? I think it was like too many steps for me. Mm-hmm. I had to go take a class, and it was like a 4-week class at Harley Davidson or something.
It's just a 1 weekend class.
It's just a 1 weekend?
1 weekend class.
For some reason, I saw 4 weeks.
No, it's 1 weekend. They might have broke it down to 4 days, but normally it's 3 days. Mike over at AV Harley handles that. He does a great job, Michael. He handles that at AV Harley, and you could do that class, but you don't have to do the class to get your license. you can go down just to the DMV and take the written test and get your permit. And with your permit, you can go buy a bike and ride it out if you know how to ride already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's different ways you can go about it. A lot of people don't like taking the class taking the riding test at the DMV because most people fail that. Like 80% of people fail the riding course at the DMV. So that's why they take the class. And the class will help you prevent from having to take the writing portion of your test.
Oh, okay. I got it.
That's how that works.
But
And
why do people fail?
I guess they're just really strict. I don't know exactly.
Or is it like real estate? Because like my family's in real estate, and like I took my courses to get my real estate license, but when it came to the state test, I didn't take it, and I still have like another year and a half to take it. I'm still debating, but a lot of people, but because I've been in real estate for like I want to say 20 years, like I know real estate.
Yeah.
But everybody in real estate told me when you take the test, take everything you know out of your mind because none of that shit's on the test.
Right.
They try to trick you. And even taking a course, like I actually, it's 6 different tests. I actually have all 6 tests. And it is. It's like dumb answer questions. They try to trick you. And it's like nothing about, I mean, it's about real estate, but it's not. It's not nothing you're going to use. It's one of those stupid tests. Like why would you want to ask me this?
From my understanding, the DMV one, it's the same one that they do like at the course. When you take the course, when you take the writing course, my understanding is it's the same test, but the instructors are really strict on it, and you're by yourself, so people get more nervous compared to when they're in a group doing it at the writing academy, and then they're like, "Oh, okay," because you're kind of having fun, and then you get tested, and you're like, "Okay, well, that was it."
Make it easy.
Yeah,
they take the stress factor out of it.
Exactly, and I think that's what makes the biggest difference for that. But yeah, I mean, we'll get you out there on a bike, and maybe we'll do the parade or something one day.
No, I do.
It's fun.
I want to actually get a bike because. I mean, like I said, when I was younger, I used to ride, and I actually missed it.
Yeah.
And I see everybody ride, and I'm like, dang, I want to ride.
Yeah. It is dangerous out here. Don't get me wrong. As people say, it's dangerous, but, I mean, you got to enjoy life.
No, I mean, you do. I mean, you got to do the things like it's part of your jolt of joy. So
yes. You
got to do that. But back on the mental health thing, I definitely love doing what I do. I definitely love having conversations. Like I said, just a healthy conversation helps people. I think for me, I'm more of a great listener. Like I just kind of like let people talk, and just having these conversations gets people to think. Mm-hmm. Like if you let people talk and just let them talk it out, like something's going to click through that conversation.
Right.
And it's like, oh shit. They always thank me for that, but it's like, I didn't really do nothing.
I just let you talk.
I just let you talk. But that's why I enjoy doing it. I love telling people's, stories, and because you just, like I said, my shows and conversations are evergreen. Like somebody 5-10 years from now might listen to your story and might get something out of it. Yeah. And that's the important thing to me, and that's why I enjoy doing it. Why I'm gonna continue to do it. But I love it. But what's next for you?
Well, for me, I would say this next year, I'm definitely focusing more on my podcast because I wasn't staying consistent. And I think that makes a big difference.
That makes a huge difference. I found that out. Yeah. But also, it was funny because I think I was in my 18th episode, and I follow Gary Vee a lot.
Okay,
you know what Gary Vee is?
I've heard of it. I don't
He's
follow,
amazing.
But I've seen.
You should follow him.
Okay.
I think you'll like Gary Vee.
All right.
He gives the best advice, especially for social media, like media type stuff. He gives the best advice. But one day, I think I was at my 18th episode, and I was watching one of his videos, and he was like, for a podcast, he said the best thing to do for a podcaster is to go and interview everybody, all business owners in your area, because they all want the free publicity.
Right.
And when he said that, I was like, that's what I'm doing. But then he said that most podcasters stop between their 4th and 8th episode. And he said that because they stop, because they don't get the numbers that they see, he said, you're not going to see those numbers until your 80th, 90th episode. And now that I'm like around my 90th episode, he was right. Like now I start to see the spike. And I was like, I don't know why that is, why it takes that long, but I think it is more of a consistent thing.
Yeah.
Like I had one person tell me a few weeks ago, he said he started listening to my show because it just kept popping in his feed. And he said he wasn't paying attention at first, but he said, man, this kept seeing your show just popping and popping, because I'm very consistent. Every Friday I do a show.
Yeah.
Every day I do a promo, and it just kept popping. And so he said, let me check this out.
Right.
But it is important to be consistency. But that's what they need business, though.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, I was doing it as a hobby, on the side, and it still is. I do it for fun, but I do have my first sponsor now. So Doc Moto out there, they deal with injury and car accidents and stuff, and they're my first sponsor now. So they're helping me out, and I'm being consistent every week putting something out. Where before I would put one out, a month later I'd put one out, a week later I'd put one out. Like, it wasn't the same. It was just whenever.
Well, right, but that's and again I just know a lot of this because, again, I was in TV. Mm-hmm. And I used to actually work with, like, on the kids show that I worked on, we actually worked closely with YouTube kids.
Okay.
So I worked with people that used to work at YouTube that told me a lot of this stuff. It doesn't matter when you put your stuff out. It could be weekly, bi-weekly, it could be even a month. But once you start, that's where you got to be consistent. So if it's once a month, then continue to do it once a month. Right. Like the first Mondays of every month. Mm-hmm. Because now your listeners and your followers, that's when they know they can find you.
Exactly.
But if you're all over the place, they don't know when to find you, and they're going to forget about you.
Yep.
But if they know, man, Doc puts out a video the first Monday of every month, I'm going to look for it.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of people fail, because they don't realize that, like, once your listeners are used to something, you got to keep it that way.
Yep.
So it's not like you have to do it once a week. Mm-hmm. I just chose to do it once a week because a lot of times I didn't have nothing to do. But
but that's what I have, and I already booked people all the way out to March already to be on my show and talk to them. And some of them are in my studio, which I do at my house. I have a little studio set up, and then some of them are virtual, and so I have some just doing it off their phone and stuff, and then I put it together, and it's good to go. Right. And I got people all the way up from Visalia all the way down to Long Beach to San Diego, that are going to be on it. So I'm excited.
Right. So, I mean, how far are you taking it? I mean, do you have bigger plans or?
So, yeah, my goal with that, I mean, obviously we always want it to blow up, right? We always want, it's nice to see other people enjoying what we do as much as we enjoy what we do.
Right.
But I would say my biggest thing is making an impact with it, and kind of highlighting other people that are progressing in their goals. I have a gentleman I just interviewed, Michael L. Hernandez. He does behind the scenes for amateur UFC fights and MMA. Okay. And I just had him on the show, and he does all the interviews after the fights and all that stuff. And he's a young college student that, he's, I don't know, 23-ish, somewhere in there, young man. And he's starting that, and to interview him and have him and see him grow from when he first started with his cell phone interviewing people. So now he has a cameraman, and he has a backdrop, and it's looking professional, and it's going. And then he's following these fighters that are doing MMA fighter that are even from here out of Antelope Valley, and he's watching them progress on their careers while he's interviewing them. So it's cool that we're able to make that connection and all work together on that. But I would say my ultimate goal with it is to I would say just keep growing and making a bigger impact, because the more that I grow, the more of an impact I can make on the community and individuals. Right. So,
and the most important part about that and what you're saying, and I watched that video, is everybody started from something. Mm-hmm. Everybody started with 0 followers, first of all. Yeah. That's important. Like, did nobody start with 100,000 followers? Everybody started at 0. Yeah. But if you look at everybody's success, no matter who they are, they started somewhere. Mm-hmm. Most people just don't see the struggle. They see when people blow up. Yeah. That's when they pay attention. But like if you just have a dream today or an idea and you tell people, oh yeah, I want to do this, they're not going to pay attention to you until you blow up. Mm-hmm. All the struggles and adversities you're going through, they're not going to pay attention to. They don't see that. That's why people don't realize that we all started somewhere. Yep. We all started with a phone or something. Like, we just didn't all start with all this. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is my second studio. Like, so I didn't start with this. Like, I started, where did I start? Matter of fact, if you really think about it, I started in my home office during the pandemic.
Yeah.
That's when I did my first video on Zoom. I didn't have these mics or anything. I actually had earpods.
Yeah.
So we all had to start somewhere.
Right.
But as long as you stay patient is key, and consistent, you're going to scale. If you have those two ingredients, at some point you're going to scale. Right. And you're going to see the difference, and you're going to continue to grow. But you just got to stay consistent, and you got to have patience. It will happen.
So I would say that's my biggest thing for 2024 is staying consistent and learning what I can do from one show to the next each week. How can I improve it? You know what I mean? And if I didn't catch it that week, maybe 2 weeks down the road, oh, you know what? My audio, I can adjust this, or I can use, a different editing software that might improve my quality, so things like that is what I'm working on now. And, still getting guests, you know what I mean? Having a guest every week. Sometimes that's tough. Like, I'm like, oh, I haven't got nobody and I got to put a show out soon. I guess I'm going to talk about myself.
But, I mean, you know what? I don't know if I just been very blessed because I'm approaching my 100th episode and I never had a problem getting a guest. Because I go back to what Gary said. These businesses, they all want the free publicity.
Right.
So I think between small businesses and these big businesses, you're going to find someone like, yeah, I'll be on your show.
Yeah.
To me, and I think that's where I say I've been blessed because I'm booked out. Like, I try not to book out more than 2 months.
Yeah.
Literally, I have a long list. I literally have a long list because people always ask me, hey, I want to be on your show because I'm always out.
Right.
And I do literally have a long list. I am selective at sometimes. Like, there are sometimes I bump people up or I slide someone in. That's only because I'm being strategic with my guests and what I'm putting out there.
Right.
So it's not that I'm just pushing people back, but
it's got to flow.
It got to flow.
Exactly.
I got to be strategic about it. So yeah, sometimes I do slide people in. Sometimes, I make people wait a month or so. But I try not to book too much out because I don't want someone waiting 4 months.
Yeah.
Because literally, if you see my list, I can literally book out the whole year if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to have someone wait 4, 6, 7 months. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll call you when it's closer.
Closer.
Yes. But I think for me, it's easy to get a guess.
Yeah.
I don't want to jinx myself. I don't want to jinx myself.
For me, I think starting off because I wasn't consistent, it made it hard for me to get guests because I wasn't being consistent of when I was doing it, how I was setting it up. Now I think at the last couple of months, I've been trying to get it in order for 2024. I didn't want to wait until 2024 to do it. I want to plan it now and get it in order for 2024.
And that does help. I'm going to be honest with you. Again, it goes back to that story I was telling about how this one person was like, man, you just always on my feed. Like, because I am consistent. I think a lot of businesses out here, they see that I'm consistent. The city of Palmdale are big supporters of mine. They've asked me to do, events for them. Like I hosted their summer concerts this past summer because they see that I am consistent and that I'm serious and that this is not some side thing that I'm doing.
Right.
Like they see that I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm definitely not going nowhere because I love what I do. I love the community out here, and I'm going to continue to do it.
That's right. So, yeah. I'll be right there. I'll be following.
No, definitely. And I definitely want you on the new show that I'm doing, Real Bar Talk. That's a shameless plug, by the way.
Yeah.
But over there, because, it's crazy. I started that show because a lot of my guests that's on this show, a lot of them was like, hey, we should do like a One Life thing after dark, like with drinks and wine and all that. And I was like, okay, but then you're going to get people talking and that's when the truth comes out. Like, you get that liquor in you, the truth comes out. Yeah. So anyways, good friend of mine, Mike Modell, who owns Alchemy Row, he was on the show and he's talking about doing a similar show. And I was like, man, we should do it. So we just started it. We're going to start it January 8th over at Alchemy Row. And, it's just going to be real conversations. It's going to have some liquor in it, but we're going to, again, go back to just being real.
That's right.
Say what you want, but it's all going to be respectful, and it's just bar talk. What we talk about at the bars. I think it's going to be fun.
I'm excited to see that, and I'll definitely have to come by.
No, yeah, definitely going to have you come by on that. But, man, thanks, Doc, for coming by. Any last words? Give me a mic drop, though. I need a mic drop from you. Anything that you want to leave the people, like any type of inspiring words. If you want to say a poem, if you want to sing.
Oh, I would say for everybody out there to, going back to what we talked about, is especially for this next year, 2024, to stay positive and to treat everybody as equals, no matter if they're the CEO or the janitor, and try to do that for next 2024 to make this world a better place for all of us.
Right. And if you do that, you're going to see a huge impact.
Yes.
I mean, I'll echo that. And because I know everybody is about to put in their New Year's resolutions. And I say this actually every year. Words without actions has no value. Mm-hmm. So over the next couple of weeks, because New Year's is in another week?
Yeah. Coming up quick.
Everybody going to be like, oh, I want to lose weight. I want to do this. I want to focus more on my job, my school, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, we do this every year. If there's no actionable steps behind anything, it has no value. Yep. So I'm being 100% real with you guys. Stay consistent. Push some actionable steps. Don't have, and I've said this before, you can have big visions, but don't have big ass actionable steps. Take baby steps.
Yep.
Trust me when I tell you, baby steps, small steps make the biggest impact.
Yep.
So when you setting your goals for 2024, do them in small steps, and I guarantee you're gonna see that impact.
And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take that step forward.
Exactly.
Because if you're standing still, you're moving backwards. Basically, you got to move forward, even if it's baby steps. I just saw a good friend of mine just posted on her IG this morning. Jackie Hernandez. She put, and I've heard this phrase before. You will miss every shot. That you don't take. Exactly. Thank you. You don't. 100%. You will miss every shot that you don't take. That's right. You gotta shoot. That's right. Don't be afraid to take that step or that shot. Yeah. Go for it. Don't be afraid. You have to, or you're just gonna be standing there. That's right. So, but thanks again, man. I appreciate you. Definitely. Appreciate what you do. Continue to doing it because we definitely need it out there, especially for our vets. That's very, very important. And thank you for having me on the show, and look forward to it, and definitely look forward to your new show coming out, Bar Talk, right? Yes. All right. Real Bar Talk. 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 All right. Appreciate you, bro. All right, thank you. All right. We out of here, you guys.